Charli XCX built her career on excess, glitter, distortion. The dance floor is a way of life. So it's strange to hear her open her 8th album by announcing the dance floor is dead. Music, fashion, film is a hard swerve from Brat's neon maximalism into something rougher. Fuzzed, half-broken guitars, drum machines stripped of their sparkle, and a production style, courtesy of longtime collaborators A.G. Cook and Finn Keen, that treats rock instrumentation like a toy being taken apart. Underneath the noise is an album about what happens after the moment ends. Fame curdling into performance, glamour shading into unease, and identity becoming something Charli keeps circling rather than landing on. It closes, fittingly, with someone else's voice entirely. Start with the sound itself, because it's the first thing anyone notices. This isn't a return to rock in any traditional sense. It's guitar reprocessed until it barely sounds like guitar at all. Critics have called it toy-like, deliberately artificial, closer to Ramones' brevity than anything resembling a guitar revival. It's a strange choice for an artist who spent the last decade defining hyperpop, and it only makes sense once you hear what she's doing with it. Here's a record from a few years back that got there first. Water From Your Eyes, Everyone's Crushed treats the guitar the same way music, fashion, film does, as raw material to be warped rather than worshipped. The duo's 2023 album takes rock's most familiar instrument and runs it through a filter of digital skew, off-kilter time signatures, and production choices that feel almost mischievous. Riffs that sound bent out of shape on purpose, drums that refuse to sit where you expect them. That's the exact sleight of hand Charli, A.G. Cook, and Finn Keen pull on tracks like rock music, where the guitars are processed until they sound almost cartoonish, an irony that's very much the point. Neither record is interested in guitar as a signal of authenticity or heaviness. Both use it as a texture to be broken down and reassembled into something stranger. What makes Everyone's Crushed the sharper comparison over other Guitar Glitch records is the tone, deadpan, a little wry, never fully committing to either sincerity or parody. It sits in the same uncomfortable middle distance Charli occupies on this album, genuinely engaging with a sound while quietly undermining it at the same time. The dance floor might be dead, but something equally strange has taken its place. Once you get past the sound, the album's real subject comes into focus: what fame does to a person's sense of self once the initial rush wears off. Charli spent years being read as a persona, first niche iconoclast, then, after Brat, inescapable cultural shorthand. This album keeps circling the gap between the version of her the world consumed and whoever she actually is underneath it. That particular kind of fractured self-portraiture has a well-worn cinematic predecessor.
I swear to God, Ellie, if my daughter comes back to me pregnant with some cross-eyed Guido's kitten litter, a hepatitis Z, I will throw you off that balcony. Ah!
Vox Lux follows a pop star from a formative act of violence through years of manufactured stardom. And by the film's back half, she's barely distinguishable from the persona built around her. Brittle, performative, increasingly unmoored from whatever self existed before the fame did. It's a fictionalized, heightened version of the exact anxiety running underneath music, fashion, film. Charli isn't playing a character the way Natalie Portman's Celeste is, but the album works through the same collapse between public image and private identity. Songs here return again and again to the discomfort of being watched, packaged, and consumed. The sense that the persona has outgrown the person who built it, and now has to be managed rather than simply lived. Where Vox Lux pushes that idea to its most extreme, almost operatic conclusion, Charli's version is quieter and more self-aware. She's narrating the mirror hall effect in real time, rather than being swallowed by it entirely. But the diagnosis is the same. Stardom doesn't just change how you're seen, eventually it changes what's left to see. Both works sit with that discomfort rather than resolving it. The album's title isn't incidental.
Charli's life now genuinely spans all three words, and the record's Paris Fashion Week origins bleed into its whole aesthetic. This isn't music borrowing fashion imagery for flavor, it's an artist embedded in that world, on a first-name basis with the people who define it. That kind of total immersion in image making has its own well-documented casualties.
No. 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 No.
Halston, can I have a word?
No.
Halston traces the rise and unraveling of a designer whose name became inseparable from his brand, until the brand consumed him entirely. The Netflix series is fascinated by the exact tension music, fashion, film keep circling. The moment a public identity stops being something you perform and starts being something you're trapped inside. Charli's album was reportedly written in a burst around Paris Fashion Week, and that world's fingerprints are all over it. The chic minimalism, the sense of being simultaneously an artist and a walking brand. Her cover art featuring Marc Jacobs, John Cale, and Martin Scorsese plays with exactly the kind of image curation Halston built his empire on and eventually lost control of. The difference is one of awareness. Halston's tragedy is that he never quite sees the trap closing. Charli, by contrast, seems to be narrating her own version of that trap from inside it, clocking the mechanics of fashion world self-construction even as she participates in it. It's less a warning than a document of someone trying to stay conscious of the game while still playing it. Beneath the noise and the fashion world sheen, this is also one of Charli's funniest records, in a specific, dry, almost deadpan way. The wit never fully lets you off the hook, though. There's real unease sitting just underneath the punchlines. That exact balance, genuinely funny, genuinely bleak, delivered with a completely straight face, has precedent in a record most people have never heard.
My life is in a turmoil. My thighs are black and blue. My sheets are stained, so's my brain. What's a girl to do?
Christina's Sleep It Off is a no-wave curio from 1980. Deadpan, theatrical, and very funny in a way that's also quietly devastating. Christina delivers lines about heartbreak and self-destruction with a flat, almost bored affect, letting the gap between the delivery and the content do all the emotional work. Charli pulls the same trick throughout music, fashion, film. On rock music, she deadpans about really banging my head over deliberately toyish guitars. Funny on its face, but laced with real insecurity about relevance and reinvention underneath. It's satire that never fully commits to being a joke, because there's something too genuinely anxious sitting inside it. Both records share that specific comic register, wit as armor rather than entertainment, humor that exists to hold something more uncomfortable at arm's length. Neither Christina nor Charli is interested in the easy laugh. The joke is only half the point. The other half is everything the deadpan delivery is quietly refusing to say directly. It's a much harder needle to thread than straightforward comedy, and one of the more overlooked skills on this album. And then there's the ending. Music, fashion, film closes with No One Lasts Forever, which hands its final moments over to filmmaker David Cronenberg, delivering an unsettling monologue rather than a song. It's a strange, deliberate choice, letting someone entirely outside the album's musical world speak the last word. That specific structural move, an outside guest closing things out instead of the artists themselves, has a genuine hip-hop precedent.
Who will survive in America? Who will survive in America? Who will survive in America? Who will survive in America?
Kanye West's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy doesn't quite end with Kanye either. Who Will Survive in America closes the album with a spoken word poem by Gil Scott-Heron, layered over a warped instrumental. No verse, no hook, just an outside voice delivering the record's final, most unsettling statement. It's the same structural gesture Charli and her collaborators pull with Cronenberg. Rather than tying things up in her own voice, she cedes the closing word to someone from entirely outside the album's musical world, whose presence recontextualizes everything that came before it. Scott Heron's poem reframes MBDTF's excess as something closer to a national reckoning. Cronenberg's monologue does something similar for music, fashion, film, casting the whole record's identity anxiety in a colder, more clinical light. Neither closer offers resolution. Both are destabilizing on purpose, a deliberate refusal to let the artist have the last, comfortable word on their own project. It's a small structural choice, but it's the kind that reframes everything that came before it, and it's one of the more purposeful endings either artist has put their name to.
Music, fashion, film isn't trying to repeat Brat, and it isn't really trying to be liked in the same way either. It's messier, warier, more self-interrogating, but pull on any one of its threads. The guitars, the fame, the fashion, the wit, that closing monologue, and there's a whole lineage waiting on the other side.